This article is about epigenetics, and that means it's about what happens within the cell where it looks like the mutations or the changes to the cell are not random, but they're actually changes that take place as a result of pre-programmed systems. Part, you might say, of the inherent design, that the cell is capable of making adaptations when responding to changing environmental conditions. Well, this was tested in a plant, and the plant was for 25 generations heat stressed, and then it was compared to a plant that had not undergone those 25 generations of heat stress. And it was noted that the heat stress plants had developed a number of characteristics that were designed to help it cope with the stresses that it was under. And these weren't random, and they weren't selected for. They were stuff that was being generated as a result of pre-programmed systems. Obviously not fully understood yet, but it's almost certainly that's what's going on. The same thing was discovered with fruit flies. And so it looks like what we have is adaptations that are not the product of random mutations, and they're not the product of natural selection. They're actually the product of design features that are built into the genetic code of plants and animals. So we have here this type of epigenetics is an argument for incredible design, because the design is not only very good in itself, but it has the capacity to make adaptations when the environment changes. And this might explain quite a lot about why everything is so well designed for the environments they're in. And I think there's a lot that could be said here about how God originally designed the original DNA. The DNA had to be capable of functioning in the pre-fall world, functioning in the pre-flood but post-fall world, and then functioning in the post-flood world. And in all that time, the DNA was always the same. It was just its capacities to change according to the environment were built into the original DNA. God is indeed marvellous in all his works, and we should not assume we know things until we have really fully investigated them. And at the moment, we're only just beginning to investigate this level of detail. So much of what's being said at the moment is rightly speculative, and that's not a problem, but let's not place too much credence on it. But I have a strong suspicion that as we get to know more the details of the DNA, we will discover this concept of epigenetics, design, adaptation, you might say, will be a major part of the cell's design, something that we never even envisaged or thought was possible. And again, that concept of epigenetics points back to a very intelligent designer. Today, more than ever in the history of man, we see the evidence for design. Sadly, the academic world still has the blinkers on, thinking it's to do with evolution. But actually, if you step back and look at what the evidence is literally shouting at us, it's shouting design. And if we didn't have the blinkers on, we'd see it straight away. And so my prayer is that, Lord, take the blinkers away, and that the academic world see clearly what is so obvious. Well, thank you for listening.